Hey folks, Mark Rose here. I want to talk to you a little bit about my recent success that I had over at Lake Wheeler. I was able to win that last, or next to last FLW Open over there, and just want to share with you a few things that I did to be successful that week. I got a few of my favorite Strike King lures here that I want to tell you about. You know, those fish were down on the lower end of Lake Wheeler, had a recent rain come in beforehand, and it put a lot of fishermen and my competitors shallow because there was a pretty good little shallow water bite. But I was in the last creek right before you get to the dam. It had a little better water clarity to it, and I caught those fish out on ledges, which is what I really like to do. And I'm going to show you a few of my favorite baits that I like to fish out there on the ledges, and some baits that I utilized that week. You know, this is the fish really wanted a crankbait out there on those ledges, and this is my favorite crankbait. It's the Strike King 6XD. This bait will run 20 foot, 20 on 12-pound line right out of the package. But you know, those fish that I found on Lake Wheeler, they were in that 22 to 25 foot range, and I just couldn't reach them with this bait. And I had to modify some crankbaits to get them way deep down there. I couldn't get this one down there, so I had to use some other things to be able to catch them that week. But the final day, the bait that was my bread and butter, and a bait that I caught a couple of my key fish on, was the new Strike King Menace trailer on the back of our Strike King 3/4 ounce football jig. This is my favorite bait to throw when things get tough, when they're down there deep and they're on the bottom. I can't get them to react. I really like this bait. And what I like about the Menace trailer is, as you can see, it's the tails are closer together. The Rage tail crawl, I think I've got one over here on bait that's been eating pretty well. That one's caught a lot of them. But the Rage has lots of action, and the claws are really spread out. And when you're fishing that 25-foot range, it's hard to stay on the bottom. You know, it wants to ride up a little bit. It's great for 20 foot or less. This Menace is my new favorite one for keeping it on the bottom. It doesn't have much drag, but yet it's got that Rage, that Rage tail action that I just love so much, or that the fish really love so much. So the new Menace, it's real streamlined. It's gonna keep your bait down there. It's gonna sink faster because it doesn't have a bunch of drag. The new Menace trailer, I'm really liking that one, and it caught a few key fish for me. And one of the things that I did in that tournament as well, those fish were down there and I couldn't get them to bite a lot of times. So what I would do, I'd back off in that 26, 28, 30 foot range, and I'd make a long cast to them with the Strike King Sexy Spoon. This is one of my favorite baits. I've won some FLW tournaments on this bait. I just like to back off and rip this spoon through them. They didn't want to eat it, but I call it my aggravator or my motivator. I rip it through them, and it just busts them up. And when I get them busted up, I can back off and I can throw the crankbait to them before they get positioned. And I was able to utilize the Strike King Sexy Spoon in that way to add a few more fish to my creel. But you know, a bait that I feel like I would have won the tournament on is this one right here. It's Strike King's new 10XD. Man, look at what a honker of a crankbait. This is the 6XD, which goes 20 foot. And look at that thing. Just a big old profile bait. But here's the deal. There's not a lot of big, giant, bulky plastic under this thing. It's really streamlined, and it cuts the water column really good. And this bait doesn't pull all that hard. You can fish it all day long. I've been testing it here on Kentucky Lake at the Strike King Riders Conference, and it's really nice to throw. It doesn't pull like what you think like a lot of the older big profile deep diving baits would go. This thing will run 25 foot on 15-pound line right out of the package. So the new Strike King 10XD, I'm really excited about it. This is going to be my new go-to whenever I get in a situation like that again. So hope these tips help you a little bit whenever you get out there on the ledge situation. You try these things. I believe it'll help you out a little bit.